Hello viewers, let me start with the second lecture of single phase transformer today. But let me again have a quick flashback on whatever has happened in the first lecture. In the first lecture, I just talked about the brief introduction of single phase transformer. I started with the single phase transformers, basic transformers you see on the roadside. Then I defined what is basically a transformer. Then I talked about Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction and how primary induced EMF is actually self-induced EMF, and secondary EMF is actually a mutually induced EMF. Then we talked about basic construction of a transformer, in which we talked about primary, secondary, and core. Then it was classification of a transformer. In classification of transformer, we talked about classification on the basis of voltage, on the basis of power handling capacity, and on the basis of construction. Then it was EMF equation, which I talked about. You can see this was derivation of it, and finally we get E1 as 4.44 FIM N1, or E2 is equal to 4.44 FIM N2, and ultimately the transformation ratio is defined as E1 upon E2 is equal to N1 upon N2 is equal to V1 upon V2 is equal to I2 upon I1, except for current, everything is 1 by 2. Then I talked about basic working of a transformer on no load. So unlike any other instrument, despite on no load, there is certain current drawn from the transformer, that is no load current. So this was the phasor diagram, and the power loss in this case is actually V1 I0 cos phi 0. Then I talked about transformer on load. So when load was connected, secondary circuit was completed, and in that case there was I2 setup, and because of N2 I2, again a flux which was set up in the opposite direction. To compensate this, there was secondary reflected current which was drawn from primary. So N2 I2 is compensated by N1 I1 dash. So on load we have two components of primary current. One is called as no load current, and another component is what is called as secondary reflected current. Then we talked about the different phasor diagrams on load. So when I talk about load, there are resistive load, inductive loads, and capacitive loads. So it was basically the transformer on no load phasor diagram as it is intact. Then we showed I2 which was in phase with E2 in case of resistive load, exactly same in magnitude but opposite in direction, 180-degree phase shift. It was I1 dash, and the summation of I1 dash and I0 in phasor form is what is I1. Similarly, it was inductive and capacitive. Only differences: in inductive case, I2 is lagging behind E2, and in case of capacitive loads, I2 is leading E2. Okay. Now let me proceed for the today's lecture. Let me go to now equivalent circuit of transformer. Now when I say equivalent circuit of transformer, basically what I am doing is I am treating the transformer as an ideal transformer, and the lacunas in it or the losses in it or any negatives in it, I am just showing it outside so that I am showing that transformer as flawless. So what are the different things causing losses in a transformer are? There are winding resistances and there are winding leakage fluxes. Now what do you mean by leakage flux? Basically is the flux which is not traversing in the desired path. That means the desired path is that flux should flow only through the core, but some part of the flux completes its path through air from turn to turn. This is what is called as leakage flux. So any leakage is something which is not following the desired path. So here when I say leakage flux, the leakage flux basically is the flux which is completing its path through air and not core, and it is completing its path from turn to turn. Okay, so when I say turn to turn, it will be such type of leakage in primary, and it will be such type of leakage in secondary also. Okay. One more loss, that will be I square R loss, and this will be to show this that resistance R1 is shown for primary and R2 is shown for secondary. So you can see in the equivalent circuit diagram R1 X1 is actually primary winding resistance and primary winding leakage reactance. Okay, and when you see on the secondary side, it is R2 and X2. So R2 signifies secondary winding resistance, and X2 specifies the secondary winding leakage reactance. Okay, but one more equation I'll have to satisfy is that I1 is equal to, that means primary current is equal to the secondary reflected current plus I0, isn't it? So to show that, I'll have to show one more branch for primary, and that will be I0, so that by KCL I can say I1 is equal to I0 plus I1 dash. Okay, and when I say no load current, it has got again two components. So one is core loss component and another is magnetizing component. So to depict core loss component, I'm showing a resistance RC, and to depict the magnetizing component, I'm showing XM. Okay, so that resistive and inductive branch which is shown is actually symbolically denoted for RC and XM, that is for IC and IM. Okay, where IC is core loss component and IM is magnetizing component. So what are the different equations I have satisfied over here? You can just scroll down and you can see that I0 is equal to IC plus IM, that is core loss component plus magnetizing component. Z1 I am defining over here as impedance, which is R1 plus JXL1. Okay, you can write it as X1 or you can write it as XL1, that is the same. Okay, so just to indicate that it is leakage flux, that L suffix is used. Okay, similarly we can have Z2 is equal to R2 plus JXL2, yani primary impedance and secondary impedance. Okay, so up till now, before discussing this equivalent circuit and before discussing any losses in the transformer, it was V1 is equal to E1, that means whatever was the applied voltage was same as whatever was the primary induced EMF. Similarly, it was E2 is equal to V2, that means whatever was the secondary induced EMF, that is mutual induced EMF, equal to, we have taken the terminal voltage. Now terminal voltage normally is a concept used for load terminals. So whatever is the voltage which is available at the load terminals is what is called as terminal voltage. Okay, so up till now when we were not considering any losses, it was V1 is equal to E1 and E2 is equal to V2. But now when I am considering the winding resistances and winding leakage reactances, now it is no more V1 is equal to E1, but it will be V1 minus I1 Z1, that is equal to E1. Similarly, whatever is the secondary induced EMF E2 minus I2 Z2 will give you V2. Okay, so V1 minus I1 Z1 is equal to E1 and E2 minus I2 Z2 is equal to V2. Okay, but negations are very difficult to be shown on a phasor diagram. So normally on a phasor diagram we show additions. Okay, so to show this addition, seventh equation can be written as V1 is equal to E1 plus I1 Z1 and E2 is equal to V2 plus I2 Z2. So while showing these two equations on phasor diagram, we'll be showing those additions. We cannot show the negations. Is that okay? Yes. So this is the equivalent circuit of a transformer showing impedances, and this is what I was talking about, the phasor diagram of practical transformer on load. Now let me discuss one after the other. Let me discuss first about resistive load. So in the resistive load, again the preliminary things remaining same, that phi is taken as x-axis, y axis is E1, V1 sorry, and E1 and E2 will be in the opposite direction. Okay, so by Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction, E1 and E2, that is both these EMF should oppose the cause producing it. And what is the cause producing it is basically the applied voltage across primary. Okay, so V1 is on the y-axis and E1 and E2 are in the fourth quadrant, that is minus y-axis. Okay, then you can see I2 R2 plus J I2 X2 is shown as I2 Z2, so that we can satisfy the equation that is 8th equation, V2 plus I2 Z2 should be equal to E2. Okay, for that you can see I2 is taken just lagging behind the E1 and E2. Okay, and you can show the rest of the things. Okay, similarly in the upper half, exactly same in magnitude but opposite in direction, you get I1 dash, and I1 dash and I0's phasor sum you can get it as I1. Okay, then it is you can see the equation 7th being satisfied. What is the 7th equation? It was E1 plus I1 Z1 is equal to V1. So you can see this particular thing is Z1. So I1 R1 plus J I1 X1 is what is I1 Z1. Okay, so this is where this I1 Z1 is. Okay, similarly we can say we have inductive load. In that case I2 will be lagging behind like this. Okay, so you can see this angle. Now here you can see V2 and I2 were in the same direction. Here okay, one more thing over here is you can see even E2 and V2 is over here. Now why V2 is over here is, now when we are considering the losses, no more E2 is equal to V2, so there will be certain lag between E2 and V2. So that lag is being taken into account by showing V2 just lagging behind E2. Okay, and in the same phase we have I2. Is that clear? Okay, over here you can see this is E1 and E2. Again we have shown V2 like this, lagging by certain angle, and now V2 and I2 are not in the same phase, but I2 is still lagging behind by a certain angle, and that is phi 2. Okay, here you can see V2 and I2 are in the same phase, but here you can see there is a lag. Okay, then you can see exactly parallel to I2 it will be I2 R2, exactly 90 degrees to it will be I2 X2, and this will be I2 Z2, so that I can say V2 plus I2 Z2 is equal to E2. Okay, similarly in the upper half I can say exactly of the same magnitude as I2, but in the opposite direction I'll be having I1 dash, and I1 dash and I0 it will be I1. Okay, and the another equation I want to satisfy is again whatever is I1 exactly parallel to it will be I1 R1, because the resistive drop is always supposed to be in the same phase as current. Exactly 90 degrees to it will be I1 X1, that is I1 XL1, isn't it? And if you complete this vector will be I1 Z1, and E1 plus I1 Z1 will give you the value E1 sorry, this is minus E1 sorry, this is V1 actually. So you can satisfy this equation. You can see V1 minus I1 Z1 is equal to E1. Yeah, E1 is plus I1 Z1 is equal to V1. Okay, so this is how you get the next equation. Similarly in the third you can see the same thing, E1 E2, then V2 is lagging behind, but now I2 is, you can see this is phi 2 and the V2 is over here and I2 is over here. That means I2 is anti-clockwise, since you can see it is leading ahead. Okay, so in capacitive load we say the power factor is leading, that means current is leading. Okay, and over here you can see after I2 what I have plotted is exactly parallel to I2 from the tip of V2 it will be I2 R2, exactly 90 degrees to it will be I2 X2, so that this phasor will be I2 Z2, and I can complete this equation as basically is E2 minus I2 Z2 is equal to V2, but I cannot see the negation, so it will be V2 plus I2 Z2 is equal to E2. Okay, similarly in the first half it will be this is actually V1, so it will be I1 very first thing is exactly I2 magnitude, but in the opposite direction it will be I1 dash and I0 phasor sum will be I1, so parallel to I1 it will be I1 R1 from the strip, exactly 90 degrees to it will be I1 X1, and this will be V1, so that I am satisfying the equation V1 minus I1 Z1 is equal to E1, or it should be E1 plus I1 Z1 is equal to V1. Is that okay? Let me stop over here. We'll see in the next lecture about different losses of transformer. Thank you.